What if the more you try to be attractive, the less attractive you actually are? Wouldn't that be a wild paradox, right? But truly, think about it. What if you're trying so hard to be attractive that it actually makes you less attractive in the process? I like to mirror this back to childhood and the survival dynamics that many people in exceedingly unhealthy childhoods learned to play out, right? What is survival? Survival is basically when you learn these unhealthy or even maladaptive, exceedingly unhealthy defense mechanisms to cope with a fucked up childhood, right? It was likely that your needs did not come first. Actually, your narcissistic parents' needs came first. And you learned to abandon yourself and wear a bunch of fucking masks to try to survive, which is why it's called survival in childhood, right? What if you trying to become more attractive or just trying to be attractive is the same energy dynamic as the survival based childhood? What do I mean by that? Well, let's look at it, right? If you're trying to be attractive, you're probably doing something that's not really authentic to who you are. What does that sound like? That sounds like a survival based childhood, right? Because in childhood, you learned that you had to sabotage, neglect, suppress, and even abandon aspects of yourself in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, in order to be validated, because you, as you were not good enough. So, what if this game of you trying to be more attractive actually has less to do with you holding on to this idea of being attractive and all these different things that you need to do in order to be attractive? What if it actually has less to do with that and more to do with actually just letting go, being present with yourself, and discovering yourself and the things that you actually fucking like? Think about it. Think about how much you trying to be attractive makes you actually less attractive in the process. Think about how much this actually mirrors a survival based childhood, right? You developed all of these defense mechanisms, maybe even maladaptive defense mechanisms in childhood because you learned that as you were not okay. There was maybe even something wrong with you. You learned a belief and developed a bunch of fucking shame because you learned that there was something wrong with you, right? And so therefore you had to wear all these fucking masks. You had to pretend to play these characters to be loved, to be validated, to be approved of, right? So think about how much this game of trying to become more attractive or just trying to be attractive in general actually mirrors this survival based childhood dynamic, right? Think about that. How wild is that? Because you learned in childhood that you had to be somebody other than who you were in order to receive love. And maybe even more than that, you learned that you had to abandon yourself and your needs to be loved, right? You learned that your worth was tied to things out there, right? How closely does that mirror what it is that you're trying to do now to be attractive? You feel like you need to do all these different things to be attractive, and maybe you still don't feel attractive. Maybe you learned that you've got to do all these different things to be attractive, and it's actually making you less attractive because it's bringing you further away from yourself, just like your unhealthy survival based childhood did. Think about that. How wild is that? Right? And it's no wonder that this whole dynamic would actually make you less attractive because you're not secure in this pursuit of trying to be more attractive. Self security is one of the most attractive individual dynamics out there. Knowing yourself is one of the most attractive individual dynamics out there. Doing what you love, feeling that fire for doing what you love inside of it's a healthy fire, by the way. Feeling that fire inside of you, that passion, that drive for doing what you love actually makes you more attractive. Wearing all of these inauthentic masks and trying to figure out how the fuck that you become more attractive is the opposite of that, is it not? Think about it, right? So the more you hold on to this idea of becoming attractive, the more you try to squeeze the shit out of it and be like, how the fuck do I do this? Do I wear this mask? What do I do, people? How do I become more attractive? Can you tell me how to become more attractive? Can you tell me how to become more attractive? What do I need to do to be? Isn't that wild? Isn't that absolutely wild? And how much does that mirror that survival based childhood dynamic of learning from your unhealthy caretakers that you needed to actually meet their needs? They weren't going to meet your needs, no. Emotionally immature people cannot meet other people's needs. They don't give a fuck about other people's needs, at least to a very far degree, right? No, that actually threw you into survival. That threw you into the unhealthy childhood. That taught you that you had to sacrifice who you were, right, for this mask. Because the parents or the people, whoever the fuck raised you, weren't comfortable with who you actually were. Oh no, we don't like anger. You're gonna have to be a really fucking nice little boy or girl. You're going to have to learn that who you are as you are is completely fucking unacceptable. I'm fucking uncomfortable with it, so you're gonna have to wear this mask, and you're gonna wear it for so fucking long that you're gonna forget to take it off, and you're gonna forget that you ever even had a mask to begin with. And then you're gonna live your entire life trying to figure out how the fuck to become attractive, and you're going to forget that all you really had to do was take off the fucking mask, but you learned that it was a part of who you were, and now you're just confused as hell because you're like, how the fuck do I do this? I'm trying to become more attractive, but I don't know how to do this. And you don't even know that you're fucking blind because you're wearing this mask that doesn't even fit your fucking face. That's what a survival based childhood is, right? You're wearing this mask that doesn't even fit you. That's why you feel, that's part, at least if not the entire reason, that's part of the reason why you feel insecure. That's part of the reason why you feel fucking worthless. You're confused. You're wearing this fucking thing that's like, how do I get, what do I do? What do I, and it doesn't even fit you. You ever see like a mask too where it's like lopsided and stuff, and like it covers the eye, and you're like, how do I do this? Right? You go out for Halloween and you want to wear the mask because you think it'll make you look amazing, but then you're like looking all over the place through this fucking pinhole, right? And you can hardly see anything, right? How much does that mirror a fucked up childhood? How much does that mirror survival based dynamics in childhood, right? You're trying to become more attractive, all the while doing the exact thing that brings you in the opposite direction of becoming more attractive. Becoming more attractive is not something that you really try to do. It's just something that is natural because when you become closer to yourself through self awareness, through healing, through growth, through understanding what it is that fucked you up in childhood, that's the natural thing that brings you to a level of higher attraction. The more you know yourself, the better you know yourself, the more attractive you become. Because then you shed all these fucking masks, all these layers that you've been wearing. Think about that, right? You're essentially living a paradox in adulthood of trying to become more attractive. Take off the mask. Take off the masks, right? Maybe you have multiple fucking masks on, right? Stop trying. Stop trying to become more attractive. I understand that throughout the past decades, we have developed like cultural, societal, and beauty standards, that apparently make people more attractive if they follow these things. Whether it's the fucking clothes you wear, the makeup you fucking wear, if you have a beard, if you don't have a beard, um, whatever it is. In my honest opinion, the more you recognize that you're still in fucking survival and you're still confused about who you fucking are because you haven't done the work to discover yourself, to understand what it is that fucked you up, and to actually heal those parts and bring yourself back to wholesomeness, back to completeness. I mean, it's really more so just a distraction. It's an illusion. Like, you learned these beliefs that there was something wrong with you, even though there never was anything wrong with you, right? Um, and I understand the whole extent to which a person can be broken and stuff. Maybe they don't really understand who they are and everything. But the reality of the matter is that the more you try to become attractive, the less you are focused on yourself, the further away you get from attraction. Right? And that's just honestly the fucking reality of it. Like, these survival based dynamics that you'll see mirrored in adulthood, right? Of trying to become attractive, following all of these societal, cultural norms of what attraction is, right? They may actually make you less attractive. They may actually bring you further away from who you truly are. Because society, in a sense, is kind of like a survival based childhood. You learn to abandon parts of yourself to fit in. And it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just brings you further away from yourself, which brings you further away from your highest self, which is actually, in my opinion, and based on everything that I've learned, the most attractive you can become as an individual, right? So, what if that's the reality of it? What if trying to become more attractive is actually bringing you further and further away from being attractive, right? Because again, it's just this survival based childhood of wearing all these masks to survive a dysfunctional childhood where you learned that all of these parts of yourself that you thought were authentic were actually not acceptable because your parents or your caretakers are fucked up and they don't have healthy boundaries. The healthiest childhood a person can have is when they are allowed to be themselves. A lot of fucking people didn't get that. Meaning that their parents or their caretakers were not healthy enough to have healthy boundaries and allow their child to develop in an authentic way. Oh no, you can't be that way. That's not allowed. My parents would never accept that, so I'm not going to allow you to be that. Intergenerational fucked upness trickling down over and over and over again. So your parents' fucked upness was transferred down onto you, and now you're fucking confused. You're, if not more confused, you're just as confused as they were, and they still are, right? If you want to instill attractiveness into your child, allow them to make decisions for themselves. Allow them to be who the fuck they are and stop projecting your fucking bullshit parents and grandparents shit onto them, right? That's for parents, by the way. For the people that watch this, that are the people that are trying to become more attractive, stop trying. Focus on yourself and stop putting all of your energy out there. Focus on self awareness and discovering yourself and letting go, becoming aware of all of the masks that you've worn for survival and letting go of those masks and becoming more understanding of who you are and accepting and loving. You don't need to follow all of these standards that culture and society has set up for what attraction is, what attractiveness is, wearing all this fucking makeup, stressing yourself out because you can't grow a fucking beard. Quite honestly, like, people don't really give a shit. No one's focused on it. Everyone's focused on themselves, right? But the most attractive thing that you can do is to stop trying to become attractive. To instead take all of your energy away from that, to focus on yourself and becoming more self aware, doing the work to actually heal the shit that fucked you up, discovering the things that you actually enjoy, not the things that you learned to try to enjoy because you thought that it would make you cool. You thought that it would make you attractive. You thought that it would make you attract this or that or the other, this thing or that person. It doesn't fucking matter. If you're not waking up on a daily basis with a massive fucking smile on your face because, and this is not generalized or cookie cutter, one size fits all or extreme or anything, if you don't have a good understanding for who you are and what it is that you want in life, that's one of the most important things that you can do for yourself to better understand yourself and to get a better direction for what it is that you want, right? I'll make this clear one last time. I won't even call it attractive, or no, sorry, I won't even call it unattractive. If you feel, I just said I wouldn't do that. Anyway, if you feel unattractive, it's probably because you're trying to be attractive. Let go. Stop trying. The energy of trying is the energy of, oh, I don't have it. I'm not attractive, right? Oh, it's out there. It's out there. No, 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 no. It's in here. It's in here. It's in the self awareness. It's in the self-love, it's in the self-acceptance, it's in the being present with yourself and doing the things that you actually want to do, which might require you to be by yourself because maybe you've been surrounded by other people who have told you what it is that you're supposed to want. It's not about what it is that you're supposed to want by other people's standards. It's about what the fuck you want. And if that means you being alone, do it. Just let go.